Don't let anyone tell you that you should be playing on difficulty 10 if you don't want to. There are some very elitist members of the Helldivers 2 community that insist Super Helldive is easy and you should be playing on it. They are a minority, but they do exist and they are annoying. If you bought Helldivers 2 to have fun, which I hope you did, then you should play whatever difficulty or faction you find entertaining. Even if you want to fight somewhere that has nothing to do with the major order, go ahead. You purchased the game, you should play the game however you want to. After taking a long break from Helldivers 2 and playing other games like Gears of War, I realized that this game does a terrible job at incentivizing you to fight enemies. The most efficient way to complete most missions in the game is to ignore enemies as much as possible and focus on objectives only. Sometimes, the enemies can feel more like an annoying roadblock instead of an exciting battle, which happens a lot on difficulty 10, and that is a big problem for a game where combat should be the main focus. Right now, in the Void, on the planet Senj 23, there are mindless masses, the Illuminate fleet, and heavy Seaf presence. I was just playing this planet on difficulty 7, and it was a great time. It's like fighting the basic Illuminate faction but with more voteless and flesh mobs. The enemies still feel present, but they don't feel overwhelming or annoying. You still have to be careful, but you don't need to stress out when you play. It feels like I was actually able to push into the enemy territory and, well, fight them all the time, whenever I wanted, instead of having to constantly run away or find ways around the enemy to cut towards objectives. And it feels great to have the Seaf there with me, making every little fight feel a lot more grand scale. I think Arrowhead should keep trying out more weird combinations of modifiers and enemy subfactions in the future. The Galactic War map feels kind of bare. There's really not a lot going on most of the time. Anyways, my point is that difficulty 10 feels like it doesn't want you to fight enemies most of the time, and I realized that was a big problem for me subconsciously in the past. I always have more fun recording footage on the medium to high difficulties, usually around level 7, but level 6 and level 8 are good too. It feels more like I can experiment with my loadout, trying out odd combinations of stratagems or using items that I haven't used in a long time. Helldivers 2 has a lot of really fun weapons and stratagems, and I'm getting a little sick of limiting myself to the most effective items in the game so that I can play difficulty 10 comfortably. If you insist that difficulty 10 is easy and I'm complaining about nothing, then I'm glad it's easy for you, but please understand that this is not true for the majority of players in Helldivers 2. Difficulty 10 is hard. It's the hardest mode in the game, and you just end up sounding pompous when you talk like that, whenever you insist that it's easy. I don't understand that kind of mentality. And it goes the other way too. If you're complaining about difficulty 10 and you're still playing it, then turn the difficulty down. That's a hot take, I know, but there's nothing wrong with turning down the difficulty and playing on something below diff 10. I do it for fun, and I'm gonna continue to do that because I prefer playing on difficulties that are lower than the maximum. Helldivers 2 is fundamentally built with the idea that killing enemies is not important at all, except for certain missions like Eradicate, and objectives are the only thing that matter. And it's kind of unfortunate that this is the way the game is developed, but I do understand it allows people to play in different ways, like, stealth for example, but I think we need some more mission types that actually encourage you to kill enemies, or perhaps more side objectives even, like how there's the Illuminate Overseer side objective for killing 50 of them. That should just be a thing in more scenarios in the game, like, taking out 50 Devastators on the bot front, or maybe kill 5 Bile Titans in this mission, things like that. The game should actually, reward you more for killing enemies, because like I said, combat should be the main draw here, instead of just completing objectives. And I do still think that objectives should be the main driving force for completing a mission, but I want a happy middle ground where killing enemies is rewarded in some capacity. I've always found it kind of strange that there is no real reason to play aggressively in Helldivers 2, and it's better to run away instead of fight most of the time. especially on difficulty 10. I have said this a few times before, but I think that there should be some kind of personal progression tied to killing enemies, even if it was something very small and minute, like having a trophy put up in your ship for killing, I don't know, 1,000 Bile Titans on your own. Then that would be something. It's something to work towards and something that is fun, and it keeps track of your unique progress and your stats. I like the idea of weapon challenges a lot, or just challenges in general. They could give us a good reason to play on difficulty 10 and actually fight enemies instead of running away. There are a number of ways we could make difficulty feel more rewarding in Helldivers 2. Like, imagine if there were special titles you could earn for playing the game in a really hard way, like Constitution only for an entire operation 80 times, or something very silly and unique, but it will give you some kind of cool reward and a way to flex an actual challenge in the game instead of just a grind. But Arrowhead really doesn't seem to want to add anything to do with the metagame or progression at all. They seem to be working on that, like, in spite of what they want to be doing. It's really strange, which I think this is the core of so many issues in Helldivers 2. But the truth of the matter is that there's no easy solution for difficulty in general. Much of this is because of how the game is fundamentally designed. There are a lot of pros and a lot of cons with the foundation of Helldivers 2. I don't think that Super Helldive needs to change that much. It's the hardest mode in the game, and it should be brutally difficult. But it also needs to be fun. It's a video game. And my personal idea of fun doesn't seem to line up with how Super Helldive currently feels to play. If you enjoy difficulty 10, I'm not trying to tell you that you're wrong. I'm just giving my opinion on the game and trying to get the ball rolling on a conversation about this topic, because there are a lot of ways to improve the game. There are a lot of ways to improve any game, and we shouldn't just sit here and act like the game is perfect, because it isn't. The game is great, but it's not without its flaws. If you do care about Helldivers 2, then you will encourage a respectful and productive dialogue about the game, instead of getting angry when someone has a genuine criticism. Criticism isn't a bad thing when it's constructive and it comes from a genuine place, and everything I say about this game does come from a genuine place. I want the game to improve and become the game that we all want it to be. If you think I'm being negative about the game just for the sake of being negative, then you are totally off the mark. I'm not the kind of guy that would just lie about my experience with the game and be overly negative just for the sake of getting views. I know that some people might do that, but I am on the side of the game, and on the side of the player base. I am not on the side of the grifters that want Helldivers 2 to be shut down. But that kind of means that fingers might get pointed my way when I be a little bit negative sometimes. But for now, I'm gonna keep playing the game how I want to, instead of forcing myself to do something that I won't enjoy, like running away from enemies for 40 minutes on difficulty 10. After playing games that genuinely encourage you to fight enemies, it's becoming very hard to enjoy that kind of gameplay anymore. That's why I'm a big fan of the difficulties that are a few levels down from that. They still keep the game difficult, but you can actually win engagements with the enemy regularly and push through, getting those awesome moments that you see in the trailers for the game. It reminds me of why I had fun playing this game to begin with. It wasn't really about challenging myself, at least not entirely. It was about experiencing everything the game had to offer. The great gameplay, the environments, the weapons, the enemies, the missions. Super Helldive doesn't really give you any breathing room to slow down for a moment and get immersed in the game, to smell the roses, which is a bit of a shame, because I feel like a lot of the players nowadays are forcing themselves onto Diff 10 without taking a moment to appreciate the game more. They just want to play on the highest difficulty no matter what, even if they're not really enjoying the game, which is something that I personally will never understand. So, free yourself. Go ahead and play whatever difficulty you want, whatever mission you want, whatever planet you want. Find a way to enjoy the game. Don't listen to anyone that says you should play on the major order planet or on this difficulty or do this and this and that. If you want to play stealth missions, go play stealth missions. If you want to play difficulty 10 only, go ahead and do that. If you want to play Diff 1, you can go ahead and do that. And if you're not able to enjoy the game right now, then take a break. Taking a break from Helldivers 2 was really good for me. I was just not having fun playing the game all the time, and it did wonders for me. I'm enjoying the game a lot more, right now at least, than I was before. And there's nothing wrong with taking a break for a bit. The game isn't going anywhere anytime soon. You might need to log in once in a while to collect your campaign rewards, but that's not really a big deal. But what are your thoughts on difficulty in Helldivers 2? Do you play Diff 10, Diff 1, Diff 7? And how do you think they could improve difficulty in Helldivers 2 and provide better incentives for people to play on difficulty 10? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, I want to thank my Hell Troopers: Swickety, Archangel Shipyards, Findas16, ODST Exotic, John Droll, Tinfoil Freak, Melek Paragon 9231, Jack of Nothingness, Thackum Dub, Kermite Official, SES Champion of Democracy, and Shaquille O'Neal 1. Thank you all for continuing to support my channel, it means a lot to me. And that is all I have for today. This is Grand Moff Togan of the SES Prophet of Dawn, signing off.